That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another...
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my enjoyment of the arts. They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marche Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line. That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up with her! This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here! Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you!
What? What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted.
Paimon's exhausted.
No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed. You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking.
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go a lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way. And give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. Indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only but just now. It all became clear to me. As long as the final moment hasn't... Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the strict... Don't take any of what I just said seriously.
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty. A witness. Yes, I've heard. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself.
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered!
What the heck is going on?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be...
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my... I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. But now, it is time for I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history.
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tevat, my accuser and fated opponent. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect... The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene. So, we arranged for a second group.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina.
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Araneas. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt with...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's part. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage...
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the... As for you, traveler, I suppose your role, you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on... Oh? It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this document is a... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the... This is the fortress... The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant, and, of course, it is only natural...
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey,
I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina. Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric.
Yeah, I've never questioned...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must, and if I was not the...
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think... First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use
a curse. I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might not, but in light of this claim, perhaps what I said...
Neverlet sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina...
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is, for centuries, manifestations of... One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or...
That doesn't sound right. You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you can...
I never thought...
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. You can't argue that just because a divine...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that...
My power as an Archon.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their... Thus did I give up all...
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone! I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? Please, you've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she were—
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's
Wow, she came up with yet another... that doesn't... It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. Including those of... So, Miss Furina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this... But, if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has got...
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably fine.
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls...
Well, of course you had to tell her that. But refusing...
She's just staring at the water with...
What's going on?
Due to the inherent risk of the test...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewing, if you're present...
Siege, don't be nervous. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewing.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewing. Lady Furina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated. We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! What happened just now didn't prove a single thing! Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's two-stepped against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charge. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Furina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil...
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our but now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates. And we'd
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? So when you say Hydro Archon, do you...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can... However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, the second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing? The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? That doesn't sound quite right. That doesn't sound...
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontanians can be dissolved in primordial seawater. And the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve.
Quite right. That doesn't sound...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalette mentioned. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The stone slate's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once in the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that, however, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded with...
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro, not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiar. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing.
Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontaine.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slate's respective position. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, Everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be...
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well that whale does not belong to Teyvat. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, and once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Osea...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a pact...
We just barely managed to push it back, right?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely... Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could know. Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far.
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance...
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy, yes. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspective, ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, And not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans. I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an act under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Oh? Who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my... All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just... Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Everlasting as the moon! Laid bare.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Transfixed! This is where you fall.
Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait, the people will all be dissolved.
Oh, very good. You know it well.
What's going on? I can't seem to...
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster...
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontanian just like them.
Oh, don't worry. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, as for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt?
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. that of the new Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real being a human yourself. I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand. So, how long am I—
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for but I promise you, all will of—
A trial? Huh. How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, ladies, and I'm sure you've all heard about— In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of— Once again, thank you all for coming. If you— This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to—
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity—
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might—
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of— Right. Mere me— Calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One— Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim— Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be— The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us— There is no trouble in this world, so long as I, the
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the following.
Come now. Was I not just at the Opera House in person? Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
A magnificent...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an... All right. Deuteria, is it?
He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one...
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to...
Oh, you're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of...
I see. It's as I thought, then. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still...
well, as I understand it, the Fontaine...
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective...
Oh, is that so? Well, no one... The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. All right, Farina.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the following.
There'll be no need for that.
Lady Farina, I've...
Indeed, my dear.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near...
Understood. Keep monitoring. I don't think I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame de...
And what a fine family yours...
Surely...
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your...
Hundreds of years must have passed, but I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell someone, anyone. I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone, although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone.
Share. That's impossible. It was fated right from—
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still just share it with me.
A witness. And if to that is— He's right. I could, but if things don't play out as expected— No, Farina. But what if— Farina, you've worked so hard for so— Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find— If you let this opportunity slip, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth?
Yes, it had to be done. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once it seems that trusting human—
I believe that I understand how your deception works. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding— In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take— I mean, did you think my work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium with it? But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the vast majority had to be accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all part of your plan, then?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be—
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet. Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontanians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself, Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, at last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervillet. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Codex Nouvellette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved...
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
But... didn't you say just a moment ago...
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, we should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out just the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come. To separate the power of the primordial sea from the wind. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find...
Time to act. Rain outlines your...
Propagate! Laid bare.
Resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
By royalty... No, my sword!
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Time to... Scatter! By royalty... Let me weave you a bird.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point.
That power. Who are you exactly?
Paimon has an idea. From what she's... it's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the... so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed the point.
The point being?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation. So what sort of person is your master? Well, child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't... His name is Sertologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then?
The Foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine-Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names entitled, but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-Daughter.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person?
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Where's receding?
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
The prophecy was wrong.
The soul renewed. The Sweetadivasula tax. Old soil can still give birth. Skyship winglet. Lunar bane of the fun. The various disputes that have arisen. People always call the first research. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really curious?
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was the value for these big scoops lied. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true...
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen from start to finish? What's the...
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interview.
Are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to Poisson first. Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having a look.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible.
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, You're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another...
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision makers.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions?
Forget it.
I see you're the same as all.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me.
Or, of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then.
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it... Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections.
Wow, you...
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the fort.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin, who told Monsieur Neuvillette, and he told you.
That's a...
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was... I told him that it was best not to speak too soon.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them.
Stay safe now. And tell...
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a realness.
Looks like you've been missing.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the entrance to...
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our...
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke!
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your...
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so nervous. Miss Charlotte.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear beside that of Mr. Jurier.
Sir, please don't say...
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it.
No, I just...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed chatting with you more. The boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Why, you... Still, if I might ask...
Huh! Looks like Charlotte...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory.
Really? Well, then in that case...
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you...
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will...
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try the...
Ah, Sijuin.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. What? Sure. Come on, Miss Sijuin. Over this way.
Huh? Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the fortress?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone some...
Other than that flying ship, I got a 10.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes...
You're too kind, sir. I believe that...
I'll just leave the spotlight to you two. I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger...
He sure did win them over, huh?
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine, and the bad being...
Oh, actually, what about you?
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging along, and so... As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in the overworld.
Hey, everyone! The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go. Till next time, everyone.
There'll be a
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater All right, last stop, the docks. Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the docks distributing...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them. Or you could trick a friend into doing it for you.
Trick a friend? I wonder which of my friends would fall for that.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have...
Oh.
Lynette sure is working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic shows.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself. In the future, I think we can leave underwater escape magic to him too.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out.
Lynette, could you come over? Miss...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had something to say to you. So, Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful for your contributions to Fontaine.
That's all right. We were more than happy to help. So, what's she doing now?
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, there were actually a number of things going for it. It could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
Well, that's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about.
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems that Monsieur Neuvillette has had a significant change of heart regarding the matter.
So there's some reason for this that only Neuvillette knows about?
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which, I did see him strolling around the entrance to the Fortress of Meripede a while back.
Isn't he real busy and stuff? Paimon didn't think he'd have the time for that. But back to the topic. The gnosis was given to the knave, right? What about Child?
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on his health.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with the Fatui. To think we'd be allied with them this time.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine too much mind. I would have done them regardless.
Are you going to take the Gnosis back to Snezhnaya?
That is our duty as Harbingers, yes. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand goal in mind, it is inevitable that we must wear many masks. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You're...
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report to take a photo of you.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians and our upcoming rookie talent.
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews. Thank you all.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you take one too.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we first met too. And I guess this must be life. We will all follow our own path. All right then. We'll be handing out pockets in some other districts later, so we'll get going now.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see how Neverlette's doing? As long as he's not so busy that he doesn't have time to chat anyway. Entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neverlet! Paimon didn't think you were going to have free time
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time to greet me earlier when he passed this way. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a meeting.
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered. Thank you for keeping us up. All right, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saved?
It is strange how words can often leave a bitter
So that's what happened? Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully fledged elemental dragon sovereign! But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontanians from dissolving.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitution. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was first brought. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally.
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's wish to turn Oceanids into real people too.
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There, by chance, he awakened the all-devouring narwhal. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. As for the judgment passed by the oratrice during the trial, whether it was due to that liability by association or Focalor deliberately using him to buy time for us.
Guess Focalor had Fontanians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally became real humans. Hang on a second. Paimon suddenly got another question. Back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans, were the—
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontanians would often come to the—
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where all the waters in Fontaine—
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new humans in the coming months.
Paimon sorta gets it now.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left. What's that all about?
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post. I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired and needed to rest. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the opera house, not unlike how an ordinary person might.
But she's still got a place to stay, right?
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board, or travel. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time to heal. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens and lead a normal life.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers as the Hydro Dragon?
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our court.
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the Udex, huh?
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power and this duty... As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest judge. Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem. which is that the Opera House shall no longer produce indemnitium.
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith in the Hydro Arc. Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all still okay.
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I cannot quite leave Fontaine immediately.
Wow. This ancient dragon's authorities...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomatic gift or something!
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this crisis. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnosis. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need the Gnosis's power. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary conflict.
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of gratitude to the knave and as...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so... You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of dragons.
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Large numbers of them have entered a form of coexistence with humanity. Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the knave. The harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, Fontaine's doors will always be open to you. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. Paimon still got it. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away the Gnosis had clearly changed. We guessed that there might be some reason for it that only you were aware of.
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. They are certainly sharp. So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready to share something with you. In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over...
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here. I can finally catch the scent of your power. What it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons. But with something very similar to... I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you speak of.
Of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never...
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me. But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner...
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the... It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is why there are so many problems in our attempts to communicate with you. Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune. to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all turn to curses.
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my personal thoughts, and my reason for no longer wishing to return to the surface.
This third descender you refer to, who are they? And when did they die?
Master never mentioned them to me. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass—
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not, I wanted to—
The remains of the third descender? So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces.
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that is what she meant to say.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the Fatui.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk. I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be one of them. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third descender. I wonder.
Like being able to use— No, let's not think about this stuff right now. It just feels creepy, comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender, and that's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck. Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look for his mask.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking. The same is true.
Alright. Whatever the case, it seems like
Yes. All the
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she said—
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will one day return to the earth as raindrops. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes tilt one way or another, but the rain falls fairly upon all. And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains that fall upon all of us? It seems from your expressions that you still have more things. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I suggest that you fully prepare.
Something you wish to report? Go on. You have my undivided attention.
Perfect. It's you two. I have a commission.
The only ones for the job? Huh.
The Adventurers Guild doesn't employ that kind of classification. All it asks us to do is to find a missing person.
Huh? Then why did you say—
I came across this commission while reviewing. It seems simple, but our records indicate that over a dozen successive efforts to complete, with the reputation of the Adventurers Guild and the performance of the Sumeru branch at stake, it's in our best interest to assign—
Well, that's us for sure!
If it proves to be beyond your capabilities as well, I'll—
Okay, so who are we looking for?
This commission was jointly issued by the residents of Vimara Village. But the problem is, they don't know the missing person's—
They're all from the same village, but they don't even know his name?
Unlikely. Several villagers came by to issue the commission. And besides, putting up a commission requires a processing fee. There aren't— In any case, it would probably—
Alright then, let's go! I'm on starting—
Ad Astra.
local specialty.
I hope you'll have a...
Sometimes you just need to give up and realize that...
We made it to Vamara Village! Why don't we talk to some of the villagers to learn a little bit more about the missing guy? If this commission is...
Hello there. You looking...
Oh, no, we're adventurers!
Ah, so you're here about that? To be honest, we aren't holding out much. We've pretty much had it up to here.
So, this person we're looking for, what's his name?
I don't know. I really...
Okay.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to sound short with you. I know it may seem like we don't have anything to offer by way of information, but I promise you, we all have a very strong impression of him. We just don't know the specific. At least that's what everyone in the village sees.
All right, specific.
Young guy, in his early 20s probably. Incredibly. I'd chat with him when I didn't have any customers. I even saw him.
Now that you've started talking about him, you don't seem nearly as down in the dumps as you did.
But of course, everyone in the village is pretty fond of. There aren't many young people like him nowadays. So genuine and pure.
Could he have just moved away without telling anyone?
No, he's not the type to leave.
Huh. All right.
It's the guests I hear.
Hi, Grandpa Amadea.
Ah, so that's what...
Could you tell us a bit about...
Of course. With my failing eyesight, I'm afraid I can't offer much about his appearance. I don't think his parents are still living in the village. He would often take time to visit the elder, and whenever someone had something on the... As the village chief, I owe him...
Wow. He seems like such a nice and... But... it's okay. Well, Traveler, what do you think? Paimon thinks so too, and nobody has been able to tell us anything about his family or where he lived? Wait, so you're saying it's not... Okay, Paimon's gonna need some time to process that one.
You two are the adventurers who just arrived, right?
Yep, sure are.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank God. My name is Atosa, by the way. I grew up here.
Yeah, no need to worry. We'll give it our best shot.
I'm not sure...
Overruled.
Is this the place?
Yep. I know it does. We used to always... I was actually adopted by the people of them. I was surrounded by...
Alone?
How should I put it? Everyone has their own problems to deal with. Really? You know exactly how I feel? Wow, that sounds really nice. You're quite lucky. When it comes to our no matter what, he was so thought ever since he disappeared. No, none of those...
Wow. You two... Did he ever tell you anything?
He mostly just talked about it. Oh, right! I did ask him about his parents. I didn't know whether that meant they had left...
Still...
Look at me. The last time I talked this much... Come to think of it, every time time always passed by really slowly.
Well, time always seems to pass slower when you're relaxed, right? What's wrong, Traveler? Hey, look at those hilly trails over there. The Abyss Order. Uh-oh, we've been spotted!
Keep on me! No, my sword!
Here!
Bring forth!
Shadow Raven, let night fall! Thank you so much. I wasn't expecting monsters to show.
It was no trouble.
Now that I think about it, the hilly trolls around Vilmara village have been a lot more active lately. They seem agitated and would often attack anything in sight. Chief Amadea doesn't allow the children to play in the area around the village anymore.
Maybe the Abyss Order really... Well, we should head back and check out the situation in Vilmara village just in case. If the Abyss Order is plot... Wait a second. The person... It's Dainslev!
Ah, it's you two.
Oh, a friend of yours? Well, I'll leave you all to it then.
Yep, see you later! Why do you always have to pop up out of nowhere like that? Is it your life's mission?
It's hardly personal, or intentional for that matter.
Ah, so you're here to investigate the...
Naturally. Hold on. Are you not here for the same purpose? No matter. It may... The Abyss Order is most certainly planning something.
So you think the Abyss Order is behind...
As things stand, I highly doubt...
Still...
The best way to protect them is by figuring out what the Abyss Order is truly planning. That is how we and you shall have them. Don't worry. Ah, so someone who seems to only exist in people's memories. That is indeed quite It appears all we have by way of clue.
Right! That
Traveler, let me ask you this. Do you believe your sibling to have betrayed you? I sense hesitation in your words. There's still hope for the two of you to reconcile. The sinner you wish to know about. His situation is different. His name is Vederfolnir. I'm loath to admit it, but...
Your... brother?
There were 5 of them. The wise, Roptatir. The visionary, Vederfolnir. Gold, Rhindaughter. The foul, Sertologi. And Rehir of Solnari, Rerir. No matter how eroded my memory may become,
Wait, some of those names sound really familiar. Rhindaughter is the one who created Albedo. Sertologi is Skirk's master. And the one we just learned about, Dane's brother, Vederfolnir. If he was the voice of the sinner, then the one who inspired...
They were once people of great esteem in Canria. Those who carried the hope, 6 of us, together. We should have been the ones to Yet, deep within, the 5 of them craved something more, so they became sinners. But also, and when the cataclysm occurred, not one of them stood up in defense of their nature. Indeed, if they are not stopped, of course,
So, Dane, what have you been looking...
I've continued to investigate the questions surrounding the Loom of Fate. It's by retrieving the eye of the first field tiller, we were able to stop part of their plan from coming to fruition.
Oh, Paimon remembers! Weren't they going to use it to corrupt Osile and make a god?
Indeed. However, it's obvious that the eye was integral to their plan. Yet somehow, despite failing to obtain, there are many signs pointing to that.
Then, what should we do?
Our most pressing concern is to determine the purpose of the Loom of Fate. Based on the intel I've gathered so far,
The ley lines?
Traveler, you were able to observe your siblings' memories last... My recent investigation has shown that Abyss Order activity in a particular area is usually followed by a series of...
Wait! Then our commission here in Vamara Village.
It's certainly possible.
Well, if we're teaming up with Dane again, we're gonna need all the energy we can get. Let's try and... Oh, so tired. Well, let's go find Dane. something happen?
The missing person from...
Oh! Young guy? Early 20s?
There appear to be certain memories in my mind. Memories...
Maybe...
No. It wasn't a dream. And I'm certain I've never met this person before. I remember handing him the eye of the first field tiller.
What? Okay, so this missing person definitely has something to do with the Abyss Order then!
Indeed. And it appears he possesses the ability to...
Wait then. All the memories the villagers have of him. Could they... But why would he do something like...
Whatever the Abyss Order is planning, an important...
What sort of truth?
That their goal is still to obtain the eye. I am the only person who knows its location. Perhaps, implanting that particular... Your concerns are not entirely unfounded. However, considering their single... Come with me. We must check...
Oh, so you're going to take us to where you hid it?
Of course.
So you hid it way out here? Well, let's go check to see if it's safe.
Traveler, wait. We've no time to lose. Let's head inside.
Hey, wait up!
Transfixed! Witness my rise. Laid bare.
It appears the mechanisms here have changed over time. You can access the upper floor through the side door. Perhaps you should try reactivating the mechanism over there.
Witness the power.
I summon thee!
Overruled.
Make sure all the runes are pointing in the direction indicated by the light. That should unlock the mechanism. The door's open. Let's go. Our destination is just up ahead.
Looks like we can't go any further.
Be on your guard. I sense the presence of the Abyss.
It's the Abyss Order! They're here!
Laid bare.
By royal decree,
Rain outlines fate. Propagate!
know my sword! Oz, reveal!
This shall not be my fate.
Germinate! Midnight Phantasmagoria.
rest.
Rain! Rain cutter!
Propagate!
No, my soul!
Conquers all!
The hearth is now extinguished.
Spring forth!
Rain outlines your fate.
As you wish, Maid for life.
Witness the power of the wild.
By royal decree.
Change of plans. No, my soul.
Propagate!
Not good.
Conquers all!
Body and mind.
Just as I suspected. The false memories were a trap. Now that they're in the vicinity, we should...
Dane? What's wrong?
Can you feel that? There's been a disturbance in the...
Wow, you must be really sensitive to that sort of thing.
You too. Do as I say. Use that mechanism. The Abyss Order is putting something in motion. If you return to Vimara, just think of it as a way to divide and conquer. I knew going along with your trap would be the only way to meet with you face to face.
You risked your safety and that of the Eye? That's quite the gamble, Dainsleif. But I believe that I am the one walking into a trap laid by the Twilight Sword.
So you came here all on your own? What about those
When the Twilight Sword is prepared for battle, any army I could send would only be marching to their doom. Better that I face you alone. I know you must have a lot to say, but if it's a conversation you want, you'll have to defeat me first.
The Abyss Order's on the move. The ley lines are all out of whack. We better hurry back to Vimara Village and see what's going on. Hey, look at those hilichurls. Weren't they acting super agitated just a little while ago?
In the new world, at last. Such was the price that...
Did you hear that? It sounded... Oh, this is weird. Looks like the same thing is happening over here.
You see, we've reclaimed an endless... Release your tears. You know...
Over there. It looks like they're sleeping.
In the end, sleep well, Father. When you awake, that which differentiates...
It almost sounds like a poem or... Well, now that the hilichurls have calmed, let's put this situation to the side for now. Dane said this might be our chance to find... Grandpa Medea, is everyone all right?
The Abyss Order? Thank you for your concern, but as...
Well, that's good to hear. Oh, also, you didn't happen to come across any
Hmm?
Huh? Well, you know, that's kind of the whole reason...
Ah, I do apologize. You... At least right now.
But how is that... Something's definitely not right. We just talked to Grandpa Amadea about the missing villager. There's no way he could have forgotten all about it. What do you think, Traveler? Could everyone's memories of the missing villager have been erased again? You're right.
Someone's gone missing? Who?
Just as expected. That guy you said a bunch of nice things about earlier? The one you always used to chat with. He's around 20 years old, and you said he was a kind one.
Oh, I know.
Really? You
There aren't many young people who've earned that kind of praise from me. Then there's only one person who fits the bill. No doubt about it. But why'd you say he's... Yeah, I just saw him leave the village. There was someone...
Strange. Bayram seems to remember him. And apparently he just saw him? Do you think maybe it's not that there's something wrong with people's memories, but that we've somehow returned to a time before he went missing?
Just like what happened with Greater Lord Rukadevada. No one... If this person only exists in people's... If we really did travel back to a time before he disappeared, time travel is extremely difficult to perform.
Right! Paimon totally forgot about the ley line disturbances. We're in someone... Just like how you entered your... That would also explain why we seem to be at a time before... Right. If he's someone who only exists in people's memories, then we're finally on the same term. But didn't Bayron just say that he saw him leave the village with someone? Who knows how long this ley line disturbance is gonna last? We might not have that much time, and we don't even know whose memory this is. Good idea. We pretty much figured out that the missing villager has the ability to... Right! That! Could we try to figure out more about... Like, does it maybe leave a trace that would somehow...
All the memories seem to be set in or near Vimara village. There's a difference between memories that arise from lived experiences and those that are... If time was allowed to pass within the false memories, there's a higher chance they might conflict with some...
No wonder! All this time and the sky hasn't changed a bit! That must mean that's the tell of the fake memories! The implanted memories are basically taking place outside of the regular 24 hours of the day. If the memories included the regular passage of time, it would be easy for people to tell that something was off. Like there could be overlap or something. People might start to wonder why they remember doing two different things at the same time of day. That's why he makes sure the memories take place at a specific moment in time rather than over a...
The color of the sky.
Oh, right!
Come to think of it, every time we talked, it always seemed... Time always passed by really slowly. Even when it felt like...
Yep, that has to be it! This is definitely Atos's memory. Yeah, that's where...
So, you see, Granny Jahiat was a mercenary when she was younger. She just... Oh, there I go again. Always talking about my own things. Do you maybe have anything you want to share? It's okay if you don't. You...
Oh, I think you're an incredibly strong and thought you'll meet many amazing people and live a very happy life. You won't miss someone like me.
Huh? Are those your friends over there?
Oh, right. This version of Atosa hasn't met us yet.
Friends? I guess you could say that. It must have taken them a lot of effort to find me. So, I should see what they...
Another time, huh?
It's nice to see you, Traveler. I believe this is the first time we've met.
Born into abject sorrow. You're Kari Bear Alberic.
Oh. You know me? That's quite the surprise. I don't believe I've met you before. Oh, I see. It was the memory, wasn't it? Your sibling's memory. You saw... the me from back then. This is Atosa's memory. I came here to say goodbye to her. But I suppose I'll just leave her a message instead. Come, let's find somewhere else to talk. I suppose you could call it the realm of my consciousness. I'm someone who no longer exists in the real world, after all. It's nothing. I still have enough strength to play the part of a good host. I've always hoped that I'd get the chance to talk to you. Extreme sorrow and pain, hope and regret. Father told me that once I possessed all those elements, I would become the loom of fate. But despite his intentions for me, I never in truth. I died the moment I set everything in motion. The person you see before you now is nothing but a remnant of consciousness left over within the loom of fate. As for your question, the Loom of Fate is a device capable of weaving ley lines. In its primitive form, it can only be used to create and implant memories. But, as more of it is completed, its power becomes stronger and stronger, until finally, it has the power to weave real ley lines of its own. Once fully completed, the moment it gains the power to weave ley lines, it loses the lower-level ability to influence memories, but it also becomes a tool that can change the entire world. Yes. I have the ability to control the loom in its semi-completed form. I suppose you can think of it as a form of compensation. After all, its existence cost me my life. Ah, that. I was wrong to implant those memories. I'm sorry I caused so much trouble. Not only for everyone in the village, but for you as well. I just wanted them to feel like I once existed in this world. As if I had a chance at life. I know what you must be thinking. Why would I do something so meaningless? But I had to know what it would be like if I had my own life. Chief Ahmadiyya, Baram, Granny Jahiyat, Atosa. What would it be like if I could live alongside them? No cataclysm, no curse. I was curious, so I selfishly tried to have my own life, even if that meant piecing together the version of myself that could have been. One memory at a time. I know it sounds stupid. After all, my life ended a long time ago. Any chance at living was stripped away from me when I was 8 years old. My consciousness left to mature in an illusory world of nothingness. Even the form you see before you was nothing but an invention based on my father's appearance. An imagined version of what I would look like if I had the chance to grow up. I know. But there's nothing I can do to make... If I could exist in the real world, I would return without a second thought and surprise them with the suddenness of it all. I know. Captain Dainsleif. Twilight's sword, you mean? No need to meet up with him. Things should... Exactly. As someone who could only exist in people's memories, the fact that I'm able to talk to you in my consciousness like this can only mean one thing. The loom of fate has already been completed. No need to worry about Captain Dainsleif. He's absolutely fine. The only reason he lost the eye was because I happened to guess exactly what he was planning. Captain Dainsleif has had the eye inside his body this whole time, hasn't he? His plan was to lure the Abyss Order to a false location, capitalizing on their pursuit of the eye. He would then hand the eye to you and tell you to take it away from that location. That way, Captain Dainsleif could accomplish his own goal and ensure the safety of the eye all at once. That's right, because in his mind, he had given it to you already. Before you two entered that false location.
Traveler, what... We've no time to lose. Let's head inside.
That was when I implanted the memory of him handing you the eye. Given the tense situation at that time, Captain Dainsleif failed to notice anything out of the ordinary. I'm sorry, Traveler, but I needed the Loom of Fate to be completed. And to do that, I promise I'm not trying to conceal anything from you, but Tevat's ley line system is deeply entrenched in the planet. Creating new ley lines can neither replace nor extend the ones that are in the face of everything they could be planning. I fear I'm too insignificant to even get a glimpse of the bigger picture. In any case, I had my own use for the Loom of Fate. And you remember my father, don't you? Clotar Alberic. I believe you saw him and your siblings after he used the power of the Abyss to restore consciousness to my hilichurl form. To comfort me, my father told me a story. That this was a fairy tale world where I had to take on the form of a little monster. That story managed to dispel my fears. My goal was simple. To use the Loom of Fate in its near-completed form, when its ability to create memories was at its strongest, to implant a specific memory into the minds of the Hill. In that memory, I would tell them a story, just like my... I can't change the world. Not when I lost the very right to exist within it. All that's left of my existence is a wisp of residual consciousness tied to the Loom of Fate. In truth, that trace of my consciousness should have dissipated. But now, the bedtime...
Looks like I was too late to see Kari Bear one last time. Kari Bear's consciousness is gone. And this space will soon disappear along with it. Neither of us belongs here. That's why we're not tangible. Were that not the case, I'd love to hug you too. Well, how about a conversation? The chance to just stop and talk like this is certainly not easy to come by. Wouldn't you agree? That battle earlier was tough. The one against Dane, I mean. I didn't expect that after everything, he would still hesitate to raise his sword against me. Were it not for that, perhaps I'd still be no match for the Twilight Sword. Even the Loom of Fate, huh? Before the heavenly principles awaken. Yes, for 500 years now, ever since the cataclysm in Conria, there's been no sign of activity. Not long ago, you witnessed the Hydro Archon destroy her divine throne. Yes, such a flagrant disregard for the rules, and still Celestia took no action. I suppose that's proof enough of the Heavenly Principles situation. However, the Heavenly Principles will awaken. We just don't know. You could say that. Just look at Kari Bear. He was so pure and single-minded. The space we now find ourselves, even as a hilichurl, seeing the terrible sight within the mirror wasn't enough to taint his spirit. He brought comfort to the people of this world, even though he was denied the very right to be a part of it. So ask yourself this. Who was it that deprived him of that right to exist. Of course, that's only one example. My feelings... Ether?
You're the only one in this world who calls me that. There's so much I wanted to ask you, but for some reason, I'm not interested in asking those questions right now. There's just one thing I have to ask. One thing I could never understand. Why? Why can't we continue our journey together?
At the end of my journey, I arrived at a place known as the Sea of Flowers at the end. Do you remember? A long time ago, when we traveled between worlds together, you told me you wanted to find a place in the universe where that one flower was in full bloom. To have a place like that suddenly appear before me, well, would you think of that as...
You mean...
I miss you too, Ether. But as this war continues to rage, and as I continue to seek that final answer, I don't even know how to face myself sometimes, let alone my own brother.
What's going on?
This space has lost its tether. I doubt it'll be able to exist much longer. In fact, aside from our inability to physically interact with each other, there's something else you should know about this space. With Caribert gone, we won't be able to remember anything that happened here. Everything in this space will be wiped from existence, including all memory of our reunion.
You're only telling me this now?
Oh, Paimon woke up a little earlier than you, so Paimon will fill you in. The villagers said that they saw us sleeping near the village yesterday. They couldn't wake us. Oh, and Dane came by just now. He didn't say anything, though. Just made sure that you were alright and left. Kinda seemed like he had a lot on his mind, but that's Dane for... Let's think for a second. We were in that He was the missing villager that we've been trying to find, right? And after that, Paimon doesn't... Wait. Well, what happened after that?
Ah, there you are. Sleep well?
Bayram, you sure seem happy. Did something good happen?
Something good? Huh. Wasn't anything good or bad. It's just that, well, the village... So there we were, searching away, when suddenly this one guy said it all came back to him. According to him, one day around dusk, he was passing by this one tree. There he was, sleeping under that tree all by himself. His parents came, and after that, well, we all started to feel like that really is what happened. Oh, and we also remembered his name, Caribert. Now, that's not a name you hear every day. Would have been helpful if we remembered it sooner. Well, I hope he's happy where...
See, seems like everyone thinks Kari Bear left the village. Paimon didn't see...
Oh, it's you two. I was just about to go looking for you. I wanted to thank you. I was part of the search party, so I remember what happened to Kari Bear now. Honestly, I just can't believe I forgot something so important. He always seemed to appear. If Kari Bear wants me, I relied on him for a lot of... Okay, I'll admit. I'm just putting on a brave face. I was dumb. Otherwise, why would he just leave? You don't need to comfort. It's just like Kari Bear said. And you know, if he has a heart, maybe he'll come back and see me one day. Anyway...
Well, that shit... Oh, right! Weren't you about to tell Paimon what happened? A picture?
Ad Astra Ab...